so we're back today with another pomade, which I like to call Stronghold Hair Butter. You'll see why a little later. It kind of looks like butter. I actually came across this recipe almost by accident while I was trying to make the other pomade, which you guys already watched. Back at the beginning stages of it, I wasn't sure what I was doing, and so this one kind of just came about. It ended up being a really good pomade, so I had to come back to it at a later date to remake it again. So today I'll show you how to make that. I'll add some beeswax to it. I'm also going to do something slightly different with the oil, if you want to call it the oil phase, where I blend the oils at the beginning. We're not going to use benzyl alcohol, so this is going to be a little bit less matte. It's going to be more of like a shinier pomade. But you'll see I use slightly different quantities of the oils at the beginning. And I'll try to keep this into one video. If you've watched the other videos, you already know how I do things, so you'll already know what you're doing, and so this should go a little quicker. As always, subscribe to the channel, I appreciate it, and give these videos a big thumbs up. Also, any comments below, I'll try to get back to you guys as soon as I can. Alright, thanks for watching. Alright, so this one is a little different than the oil blend from the first pomade we made. This is going to be with no alcohol, and it's a little heavier oils, different quantities of them. Okay, so we'll start out with Propylene Glycol. We'll still use that at 1.5 grams. Alright, next we'll use polysorbate 20. We'll do that at 1.25 grams. We'll use PEG 7 Cocoate next at 0.9 grams. We're going to use PEG 40 next. We use a little bit more PEG 40 in this blend. And with this again we'll use 0.9. And I figured we'd go over with this one because it's a very heavy one, hard to control. Okay, and again, sticking with the 0.9 theme here, we'll do a scent next. And last but not least, vegetable glycerin at 0.75, and we went way over, but whatever. I mean, that's probably, it's better to stick to 0.75. I don't know if I went a little bit over here, but I'm not going to remake the whole thing because of that. Okay, so this is our mix right here. We're going to let it sit again like 3 days, let it blend together. As you can see, it's all white right now, chunky and white. By the time we check it in 3 days, that'll be all blended in. I'll just mark this one with, I don't know, we'll do a X2 maybe. X2 or Z, however you want to look at that. Alright, we'll check on it in 3 days. Okay, so we're starting here the second phase. This is just distilled water and soap coloring we want to be at 34 grams again. I added 1 drop of the coloring, but to be honest, usually I would add 1 drop to 100 grams, and we're only making 50 grams here. So you really only want about a half a drop, but I don't have a way to cut out a half a drop, so it'll be a little stronger yellow than it usually is, but okay, close enough there. There we go. Okay, so we're going to use the oil now that we made the other day. It's the X2 that we put together. As you can see, it's totally clear now. All that white blended in nice. We only want 1 gram of this. Now you can add a little more of this if you like it a little oilier, but the original recipe that I made only called for 1, so that's what I'll do. I would maybe, I don't know if I'd go up past 3 though, on a 50 gram size. I wouldn't do more than 3 grams, I don't think. Okay, we're gonna go with ceteareth 25 now. So this we're gonna bring it up to 46.5 total, which will be 11.5 of ceteareth. I meant to show you guys the oil when added. You know, obviously if you add oil to water, it floats. But the oil that I made, you know, after you let it sit those 3 days with the emulsifiers, it's just really cool how it blends all in. I meant to show you guys that, but I added the ceteareth too soon, so. Okay. Okay, we're going to go with PVP now. We're going to do 3 grams of PVP, which will bring us up to, what, 49.5? Now, note that that's double the PVP than we used in the other pomade that we made there, the first one. That'll give it a lot harder hold. Close enough for me. Yeah, it's a lot of PVP for, I mean, that's at 6%. Actually, that's quite a bit of PVP, but that should give it a stronger hold, which is what some of you guys were asking for. So then we'll top this off. We'll bring this up to 50 with Cocoate Beeswax. So it might not seem like a lot, but it's thick, so that is actually a lot. See here, and again, this kind of like similar to the X2 oil that we made. You can tweak this also. You can go a little higher. Okay, there we go. And that's that, 50 grams. I'll let this sit for about 20 minutes. Let the ceteareth 25, by the way, is also an emulsifier. It has some emulsifying agents in it. So by letting it sit, it'll help everything kind of blend together. And then when we cook it, that'll help even more. And I'll show you how that goes at that time. Okay, we're about 5 minutes in. I ended up putting the heat up to about 8.5 instead of 7.5, just because without using benzyl alcohol, this stuff takes longer to heat, so bear that in mind. So I just wanted to turn up the heat a little bit. As you can see, the steam's all blowing to the side because I have the room vented and I have windows and doors open. You kind of want to get this stuff ventilated outside, so we'll check back in a little bit when it's all done. Took this off the burner. It's about 12 or 13 minutes in here. It does take longer than when you don't use benzyl alcohol. And it is very thick here already, so I would say keep stirring it. This is when you want to add your preservative if you're going to use one. If you're not going to use one, just scoop the stuff into a jar because it's already hardening. It hardens very fast. So, and you may have to scoop this. It's more like a butter, it's thicker, so you're probably going to have to scoop this into your container. Alright guys, we just got done with cooling the Stronghold hair butter. You can take a look at it. You can see why I call it butter. It does look like butter. So this stuff here I actually have it in my hair now. It's really good. The only downside to this is you can see it doesn't, like presentation wise, it doesn't look good. So if you were looking to sell this stuff, I mean maybe on an Etsy store you can get away with it, but you wouldn't want to package that because it's like not flat, you know. What you could try to do is add more water, a little less ceteareth, and maybe a little higher beeswax. We did this at 1%. We made 50 grams, so we only used half a gram. But if you were to up this to like 2 or 3% while keeping a higher water content and lower ceteareth, you may get away with more of a liquid that would settle and be flat. But if you're just using this on your own, this stuff's great. I mean, honestly, this stuff will hold your hair well. You don't need as much of it. Of course, with this one though, because you're using the beeswax, you're going to lose the transparency that the other pomade had. But I mean, it's not like it shows up in your hair or anything. It's just in the container looking like that. So once you put it in your hair, it's just as clear as the other one. So it's a very good pomade. I think you guys will enjoy this one. As I mentioned earlier, by getting rid of the benzyl alcohol, this will be a little less dry, a little less matte, so it should be a little shinier. The only downside to that though is when cooking, it takes a lot longer to reach the hot temperatures that melt it. So you're going to notice that cooking is going to take longer. And because of that, you're pouring it when it's already thickened up. Another thing is, because I was recording with the camera, I was unable to add the DMDM preservative today. Now, if you're planning on using this stuff over a long period of time, like I'd say more than 2-3 weeks, you know, if you keep this in your house, even a small amount like this, if you don't use it very fast, then I would suggest using the DMDM. Of course, you wouldn't be recording it. You'll just be stirring it constantly, taking it off the heat, letting it cool to about 140, and adding the DMDM at that point whilst continuing to stir it, and then pouring it into your tub and letting it cool. Again, I didn't put this in the refrigerator. I left it out on the windowsill to cool. I think that makes it harder, the pomade. It allows it to cool slower. But yeah, if you were planning on keeping this a longer time, I would add that preservative. And that shouldn't change the consistency at all. You're using it just a small amount. You would want to use that between 0.4 and 1% of the total weight. So at 100 grams, even on the higher end, that would only be 1 gram of preservative. On the lower end, it would be, you know, less than a half a gram of preservative. So it's really not going to add a whole lot. It's really not going to change a whole lot in the consistency. But I do suggest doing that if you plan on using this slower. I'll probably use this fairly quick. It's such a small amount that, I mean, this will probably be used up in like 2 weeks max. So yeah, let me just show you guys what it looks like here. If you can see that, but this is thicker than the other one for sure. But not only is it thicker when you scoop it, but on your hair it'll hold and it'll harden really quick too. It's very sticky also. But as I said earlier, if you wanted to thicken it up even more, you could use some more beeswax. But then I would tweak the oils that you use also. Maybe add some more of them. Some more of that. Alright guys, comment below if you have any questions. If you do enjoy these videos, I appreciate a thumbs up and a subscription to the channel. As always, hope you enjoyed watching. Take care.